Yes, we test drive the Model 3 at a local Tesla store. What's my impression of the Model 3 after the test drive? Tesla's Model 3 is not a brand new car, but why now suddenly we're interested in this car and we want to take a test drive of it? We're sort of in a time that looking for a second car, and we decide there has to be an EV. Based on our experience on the Chrysler Pacifica, the plug-in hybrid version that we bought, and we decide the second car has to be an EV. It's because there is so much benefits for owning an EV here in British Columbia and Canada, and one is because we have the most public charging station than any other province in Canada. Most of those public charging stations are free. Yes, that's right, free charging. And also we can drive onto the HOV lanes just by ourselves. So especially for traffic hours, like peak hours, if we just drove in the car by ourselves, we can just go on to the HOV lanes. As long as we have the government issued decal for EV, it's totally legal to do that. And also there's a government rebate for purchasing new EV as well. And I also think, especially for a long run, the total cost on ownership of an EV is much less than the gasoline engine cars, especially considering recently the gas prices went up high like crazy. This is the first time that we personally physically engage with the Model 3, but technically it's not the first time with Model 3 because we ordered the Model 3 before when it's first announced. So when the Model 3 was first announced, we put $1,000 deposit on the car. I do remember, if you are also the one who ordered the Model 3 in the first place when it first announced, like me, you must get a letter like this. Right? It's a letter from Tesla, and open the letter here, a welcome letter. Thank you for ordering a Model 3. Elon. It has like sort of like scratches design for the Model 3, and you still notice it's Model E because that's originally the name, which is exactly the same as the Tesla E. The reason why they end up using the number 3, not E, is because they end up with IP or like trademark, copyright sort of stuff. So they could not get their trademark passed for using the Model E. This here end up they just using the number 3. Went to the local store. Of course, it's not a big showroom like any other dealership like different manufacturers. After all, Tesla only has 3 cars to sell at this moment, which is Model X, Model S, and the Model 3. In the showroom, of course, you're gonna see the Model X there, and we see the Model 3. The Model 3 at the showroom, it was a red color but with black interior. I really like the red color, but in Canada, that red color costs you like about, I think, $3,300. It just, the big thing you're gonna notice in the car, which is the 15-inch screen in the center there. That's pretty much everything, the main brand, the control center in this Tesla Model 3. There's nothing in front of the driver's seat or nothing in front of the passenger seat. It's just a 15-inch screen in the middle of it. There is some knob and switches on the steering wheel, but still you need to activate it through the screen. For example, if you want to change the steering wheel positions, first of all you need to open the setting on the screen, then you press the knob on the steering wheel to change positions. You can do that to change the volume of the sound, or also you can adjust the position of the mirrors as well. It has this glass roof, but there is a 1 bar cross between, and the door is frameless. It reminds me of the Subaru Spike B that I drove before. Actually, it was my first car. I love the frameless door design. I didn't really pay much attention or detail on the Model 3, even though I heard lots of bad things about the details on the Model 3. Like, for example, their things are not lined up correctly, or just bad quality controlled or manufacturing. I didn't really notice that. Overall, it just looks okay, and I didn't really find there's a problem with those sort of things. Really nothing in front of the driver's seat except the steering wheel. There's no clusters, there's no heads-up display. I really wish Tesla add up heads-up display on this car, but what's done is done. I don't think they're gonna add up heads-up display on this car. The air vent, it just crossed the whole front, and just the way the air blows out on the 15-inch screen. We sort of like take a really simple quick look of the car in the showroom, then we quickly move on to test drive the car. The test drive car is a rear-wheel drive. I think it's a blue with black interior. Well, the overall test drive was fun. Pretty impressed about how the car handles, and especially its rear-wheel drive. Another impressive thing is how the electric motors respond. Really, it just gives you the torque, gives you the power instantly once you step on the pedal. The car just accelerates it right away because all those torque, and we have tested out to climb up a pretty deep hill, and the car just feels like really easy to do it. No big deal. Usually you'll feel the engines trying very hard to push the car up. On Tesla, on the Model 3, and it just goes. Back seat feels okay, and also the leg rooms for the back seat, the space is very similar to what the Mercedes C-Class or the BMW 3-Class is. And I think it's slightly better than the C-Class because C-Class is really tight in the second row. The Model 3 was slightly spacious than the C-Class. I think that's from my own feeling. And I like how the Tesla cars had a front trunk and back trunk. So you have two trunks, you can load a lot of stuff. That's very convenient compared to a lot of another EVs. You only have back trunk, you don't have front trunk. I think there's a couple of things for people who are new to Tesla Model 3 and you need to get used to it. One is there's no cluster in the front. Your eyes need to constantly looking at the screen, your current speed, like how fast you're going right now. I think that's one thing is annoying because you already off your eyesight off the road and you're just looking at the screen. That's one thing you need to get used to it. And other thing is the region. So for people who don't know region is, so if you're using your brake pedal to slow down the car, there's a lot of heat, a lot of energy being wasted. Region is to recycle all those energy back to electricity and charging into your battery. All the EVs or plug-in EVs have that function. On the Model 3, you have two settings, I think. One is low and one is strong. So on the low setting, feels okay. I mean, slightly harder regeneration like than our Questa Pacifica, but on the strong settings, that really kicks in. It really just feels like you stepped on a brake pedal trying to slow down car. That was something you definitely feels it, and that's something you definitely need to get used to it if you're trying to minimize your energy waste. I really think most people will just leave the setting at low. There's another benefit by using the region, is because if you leave setting in strong, because that region like slows down your car very quickly, you have less chance to slow down your car by using an actual brake. So in a way, you are expanding your brake pads and brake rotor's life, gives you overall less cost on maintenance for the car. So overall, after test drive of the Model 3, we think the car is a great car and it drives really good. Better than what I expected, actually. Definitely, it's a great car to consider. So alright, thank you guys very much for watching this video. I see you guys next time. Cheers guys.